Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Magically Cruising, the cruise podcast where we share our personal cruise tips and reviews to help you make the most out of your next sailing. My name's Kieran. I'm an independent travel agent specializing in all things cruise, Disney, and North America, and I'm joined by my fellow co-host.
Hi, I'm Sarah, and I am a cruise writer. I write over at Cruising for All and also Mini Traveller's travel website.
And this week, guys, we are going to be continuing our mini-series on river cruising, and we are very, very excited to have with us another one of our special guests as well. So Becky from APT Travelmarvel, if you would like to introduce yourself to everyone and say hello.
Absolutely. So hello everyone, I'm Becky. I've been working with APT and APT Travelmarvel for nearly 5 years now. So through a pandemic, which was very interesting, I have to say. But, absolutely love working for APT. The product is incredible. The staff that I work with are the best in the business. I have to say that, obviously. But my background specifically, it has been in travel for many years. Been in sort of retail arenas, working for independent travel agents. I've worked as a home worker for a few years in the very, very historical past, and then cabin crew, and then moved into business development with tour operators. So I've obviously been with APT now for 5 years nearly, and I absolutely love it. I love talking to people about the amazing product that we have.
I was going to say, it's a very different product as well, isn't it, in the river market? And this is one thing that we're hoping we can get across in this series we're doing, is just to showcase that all river cruises, they may have the same shape and size because obviously they have to fit through the locks of Europe, but every single product, as we call it in the industry, every single brand and ship has a totally different atmosphere, a totally different market, and they cater to very different markets. So that's what we're hoping we can kind of showcase by having you on today. Just to give a bit of a brief overview of how me and Sarah, so we were very briefly on board one of the ships at the Clear River Cruise Conference last year. So we had about 15 or so minutes, wasn't it? A very quick tour to have a look around the ship. And both of us have commented before this episode about how impressed we were by the ship, because we were both shocked that it's actually a 4-star brand. At least the Travelmarvel brand is 4-star, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah, absolutely. So we had one of our brand new contemporary ships in Budapest at the Clear conference, which you guys obviously were able to get on. And the reason it was so quick is because we actually had full paying passengers getting on board. So travel agents were the first people to come on board to have a look around, because obviously we love our travel agent partners and we really wanted to showcase our ship. So, we would love for you to have had lunch on board and stayed a bit longer, but, we had to do quick turnarounds. But absolutely, the feedback we got from that event was phenomenal, and everybody was saying the same thing. Wow, this feels like a luxury product, and it's a premium 4-star product. The hardware is spectacular. It's been designed for the waterways of Europe, so it is very modern, very state of the art, and in a contemporary style. So it almost feels like a boutique floating hotel more than, a standard river cruise ship. So we're very, very proud of our Travelmarvel contemporary ships. And I'm so glad that you guys liked it as well. That's really good news, because obviously just getting on for 15 minutes isn't really enough time to kind of immerse yourself in the product. So I'm glad you liked what you saw. That's really positive.
I remember before the whole buzz was, it's got an Irish bar on, And I'm so anti-Irish bar. And I thought, oh God, this is good. And then I was blown away by how stylish it is. It's
absolutely
not what you expected. It was just, I don't know, the decor was amazing, and then there was that barbecue area at the top. And as I say, for a very fleeting trip, it made an impression. It's beautiful.
Yeah, and the Irish bar is certainly one that captures people's attention. Absolutely. And I have to just point out, we do have happy hour in McGeary's every day, 6 and 7. 50% off your drinks. It's fantastic, and it's a really amazing concept. Having somewhere else to go on board the ship that you can go and have a drink with your fellow passenger and relax in a pub style environment. Nobody else has got that on the river, so we're really really pleased to have that concept.
Yeah, and it's not come across as gimmicky. It's super cool. I was really impressed.
We're we're very partial to happy hour on a cruise ship, aren't we, Sarah?
Who isn't? I tell you, it's a fab idea, and it's a really nice way of having a few drinks, meeting new people, and then going down for your dinner afterwards, because the restaurant opens from 7. So you get a couple of drinks, and then obviously go on down for dinner. And I think the great thing about McGeary's as well is that you have access to the sun deck from McGeary's as well, so you can go from there up to the sun deck very easily with drink in hand, enjoy the views, and of course the sun deck is is where lots of people like to spend a lot of time as well. So it's easy access there, easy access from the reception area, and of course from our alfresco lounge as well. So you can get up onto that sun deck from several points on the ship.
I suppose we should really start at the beginning, because for listeners that are used to ocean cruises, we've just jumped straight into the Irish bar. My fault, sorry, my bad. But Becky, can you tell us a bit for our ocean cruising audience about river cruising and about your brand and, you know, what you represent?
Yeah, absolutely. So river cruising, you know, I think it is a fantastic product that a lot of people still haven't discovered. I think if you love ocean cruising, then you would also love river cruising, but you have to understand that it is a completely different concept to ocean. So just because it's called river cruise and ocean is called ocean cruise, it doesn't mean that they're the same. You know, river cruise is a very different way of traveling. You know, it's like I said before, a floating boutique hotel to take you from destination to destination. And I think, you know, when you go on an ocean cruise, you're used to 12,000 restaurants to choose from. You know, you're used to the massive Broadway type-esque shows that you can enjoy. Well, river cruising is a relaxed, sort of, you know, chilled out vibe. And it's not really the ship that's the destination. When you choose an ocean cruise, you're choosing it because you want that ship particularly. Maybe it's doing the itinerary that you want to do, of course, but most of the time it's because you want to try the ship that you're interested in. Whereas with river, you're almost choosing the destinations that you're going to see, the itinerary. And of course, we do, you know, have a number of competitors that do the same itineraries as us. So why would you choose Travelmarvel? And the reason for that really is because, as I said, we have this beautiful brand new fleet of ships. You know, the service on board is outstanding. You get a number of inclusions with us as well. So you obviously get all your sightseeing included. So, you know, when you look at the price and compare it to ocean again, take into consideration that river cruise, you get so much included. So you're going to have your flights from the UK, your transfers to get you to the ship. You're going to have all your port taxes and your gratuities included with Travelmarvel and APT Luxury as well. You know, all your sightseeing opportunities are included. So when you get off the ship, you're going to be going off sightseeing for a morning or maybe an afternoon. And then, of course, all your food is included as well. Afternoon teas, early riser, late riser pastries, full-on breakfasts, gourmet dinners, late night snacks. You know, it's all going to be there for you to enjoy. And I think what really stands us apart is, again, the new ships. You know, we were so delighted to have the investment continue. Obviously, the ships were meant to launch in 2020, the pandemic hit, but APT Travel Group didn't pull, you know, this investment into these new ships because they can see the market growing, they can see the, you know, the interest increasing, and the Travelmarvel fleet really has performed exceptionally well. And people are loving it as well. We're rated excellent on Trustpilot because people have the most incredible experience on board. So I'd say really what stands us apart is amazing service, so much included, brand new fleet of ships. And of course, on board, you're going to have a certain type of demographic as well, of which I'm not too sure if everybody's aware, but we have Australians, New Zealanders and Brits on board our ships in Europe. So, yeah, it makes for a very fun and, you know, entertaining atmosphere on board, I can tell you that.
I think that was the thing that stood out with me when we had our little mini presentation at the start of our visit. That was something that resonated, was just the demographic you attract with the brands that you have are very different from maybe some of the other river cruise ships. But I think that then relates more into the type of atmosphere though that your ships then create on board as well. So, you know, prime example is the fact that you have a lot of Australians, New Zealanders. You also then obviously have the barbecue on the top deck as well on board. You have the Irish bar. I think that sets the tone for the type of atmosphere that you're having. Whereas some river cruises maybe have the perception, at least, obviously we could chat more about that, but the perception of them being quite cultured, sophisticated, classy. And I think some people maybe are put off by that because they want to go on something that's maybe a bit more relaxed and a bit more accessible culturally, I mean. And I feel like that's why you guys have got that kind of really nice mix of the balance of you still go into these amazing cultural destinations, but it's done in a very relaxed, casual environment, particularly with the Travelmarvel brands, at least anyway.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, there is a river cruise out there for everybody. So, it doesn't matter what you're looking for. You can find a river cruise that's going to suit your requirements. Absolutely. But I'd say what people are loving about the Travelmarvel ships are the relaxed vibe on board. We do have entertainment, of course. We have, bands that come on board. We have a duo that are on board constantly, and they do a lot of the sort of music through the day, and then they do music in the evening as well. But we do have local acts and entertainers come on board, such as a Bavarian evening. We've had an ABBA tribute on board before as well. So people are up dancing and having fun.
Amazing.
But it is a very relaxed vibe. And of course, you're so right, Kieran, with the barbecue up on the sun deck, the McGeary's Irish bar, it just really creates that concept of fun, but a nice relaxed vibe as well. So it's going down an absolute treat with our passengers, which is wonderful.
Can we talk a bit more about food? Because food is a big part of a trip. I like dining, and I think that's a whole event for me. So in terms of, are there restaurants on board, or how does that work?
Yeah, so on Travelmarvel, we have 3 dining options. So we have got the main restaurant, which is called Constellations. And this is where you can get your full breakfast, your full lunch, and then a gourmet dinner in the evening. Drinks will be included with lunch and dinner as well when you're on board. So that's locally produced wines, beers, and soft drinks. So when you're dining on board, you can actually enjoy your beverages as well, included in the cost of your holiday. But the food itself is quality. It's not fine dining. We don't sell it as fine dining. So if you're looking for an exclusive fine dining experience, then try APT Luxury, because that is more of a fine dining experience. But when it comes to Travelmarvel, you are going to have a selection of foods. You are going to have chef's recommendations. You're going to have a 4-course gourmet dinner in the evenings. And the food is absolutely phenomenal. Food is my favorite subject as well. And I absolutely love the food on board. It is incredible, using local produce. The chefs kind of design the menu to suit the destination that you're traveling through. We can take the dietary requirements as well. That's no problem. So, just to give you an example, I've had a beautiful, sort of, can't remember the name of it now, but it was a lovely beef starter, very thinly cut. And then we had a beautiful chicken dish for main. We then obviously have a dessert, and then maybe some, cheese and biscuits and things at the end, or a sorbet perhaps in the middle of the 4 courses. It kind of mixes up as you go through your itinerary. But of course, it's going to be different every single day. The afternoon teas as well. I mean, what an amazing hit that is, sitting there watching the world go by out of your beautiful windows, enjoying that wonderful afternoon tea with all the cakes and the sandwiches and the teas and the coffees. But you can still obviously buy drinks at the bar during the periods in between lunch and dinner if you want to have a drink as well. And the drinks on board are very competitively priced, just to throw that out there as well. A glass of wine, which I love wine, it doesn't love me very much, but €6 for a nice big glass of wine, which is not bad at all. And of course, you're so right, Sarah, the food is a huge part of river cruising, so it's very, very, it's catered very well for the local destinations that we're traveling through, local specialties, but we'll also have those international favourites in there as well.
Oh, that's excellent.
I think that's such a big thing as well in there, the immersion program as well on board. And I think that's the reason why people are choosing river cruise, because they want to connect to the destinations you're cruising through as well. So obviously making sure that the entertainment is brought in from the local towns, the local communities you're a part of as well, but also the food product as well. This is that full immersion. So again, if some people are worrying that, what's the point of doing a river cruise because you're going to be sailing on this corporate product, it's not at all. It's all very much tailored to the destinations you're sailing to and from. So you are still getting that really rich immersion into kind of, if you're sailing through Slovakia, you're going to get a little hint of that on board. If you're sailing through kind of, Austria, all that culture comes onto the ship as well as you move through the rivers as well. So it's not like you're getting this corporate experience of these are our classics and you're only having this. It's very much enriched and enhanced by the region you're sailing through, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And that's a big part of the whole experience when you're river cruising, is to really immerse yourself in the destination that you're traveling through. The other thing to note as well is we do use local experts in all of our different locations as well. So not only are you getting that experience on board, but you're also then engaging with people that are locals to the area. They have the best local knowledge, and a lot of them are our local guides that have worked with us for many, many years. Of course, when you're river cruising, again, getting on and off the ship is very, very easy. easy because, it's a ship that takes maybe 180 people. So you haven't got a queue to get off particularly, it's literally just off you go. And then there's your guides waiting for you with their lovely, colourful lollipops, depending on which group you're going in. And then you'll go on off with them and you'll go and do a walking city tour, or maybe you'll be jumping on a coach to go and visit some historical site. Depends where you are and what the itinerary is. But those local experts really do make our itineraries so much more enriching for our passengers. Our cruise directors are phenomenal and they've got incredible knowledge, but it's those local experts that really do add to that immersive experience.
And working, I've been a travel writer, started off as a family blog when the boys were little, and now they're older, they're adults. So I've been involved in travel for all those years, and it was only when I started to work or take my role working for the websites I work for that I realised that actually when you're in a port, you learn so much more with a local guide than just wandering around. You just can't see a port without having a guide now. I think you've got to have somebody that can tell you the history. On my last river cruise, the lady was showing us pictures of herself on a building site that was rubble when she was 2, and you're never going to see that just walking, are you? So I think that's a massive deal that the ports, the trips are included, and you're getting these local guides. I think it's excellent.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, a lot of them, like you say, have been, they've lived through a number of different things, for many, many years. And you can ask them questions and they're so engaging and they want to tell you everything about their local area, town, history, city, wherever they live. And it really is just so nice to get to know them. One of the excursions that we actually do is a Miltenberg trip where we actually take our guests to go and visit a number of different families. So you kind of split up into groups and you'll go and visit local families in Miltenberg, and they'll provide teas, coffees and cakes. They'll welcome people into their home and they will literally tell you about the history of their local village. They'll tell you about, World War II times, etc. You can ask questions and you feel, like they're friends. It's just such an incredible experience. And that's what it's all about. It's really immersing yourself. However, saying that, if you're not into, maybe that immersion, again, you don't have to do these trips. They're included, but you can still go off and do your own thing if you wish to. And that's the great thing with Travelmarvel, is it does give you that nice balance between having a number of inclusions, but also having enough free time to then go off on your own, grab a bike from the ship, go for a bike ride along the riverbank. The cruise director will tell you where the best places, the best cafes are to stop, and the flattest route as well, so you're not traveling up hills and all that kind of stuff. But, it's just a lovely balance of traveling. So you've got that immersion, but you've also got that freedom and flexibility to go off and do your own thing if you want to. And if there is a trip that you're not particularly into, then you don't have to do it. You can stay on board the ship and just relax and enjoy the facilities.
I did that one day on their last river cruise, didn't I? So they all got off and went on a trip, and I stayed on the ship, but it was moving between 2 ports. And it was just amazing because there was hardly anyone on. I was catching up on a bit of work. And it was just like, whoa, because it's so intimate. You can almost throw something at the land if you wanted to. You don't get that in the ocean, do you? It's like you've got scenery, and I just think it's we did. I think our first river cruise was just before lockdown, and my husband is just hook, line, and sinker. He absolutely fell in love with it. I did, but Chris more.
Yeah, it is an incredible way to travel. And that's a really good point, actually, Sarah, as well, because a lot of people think the ship won't move without you on board. But when you go through the locks, it has got to go through the locks at certain times. It all depends on water conditions, timings and all those kind of things. And if we don't get to the lock on time, then we're going to be delayed because there'll be other boats in front of us that we should have been ahead of. So it's really important the ship does. And I think from Amsterdam to Budapest, there's, it's like about, I think it's 18,000 kilometers, and there's 68 locks on that stretch. So from the Rhine into the Main and then into the upper Danube. So 68 locks that ship has to go through when it's going from Amsterdam to Budapest. So sometimes you will get off the ship and you will go off, and then you'll get a coach to bring you sort of for about 20 minutes half an hour further along the river to catch the ship up, because the ships had to move through the locks whilst you were off doing your sightseeing activity. But if you want to stay on board, then you can, and you do feel like it's your own ship, like it's just you on board.
I was so envious.
I know. When you got, because we'd gone through a lock, hadn't I? I'd got all the footage, and I was so good about it all. They were like, I had a go.
We had an amazing excursion. So like, it is one of those things. It's that what's a rock and a hard place, isn't it, when you're on board, because there's so much choice of amazing excursions included. So you're kind of like you because they're included as well. And that's the unique thing about it. If you're someone like me who does ocean, I dread looking at the excursion list because I know I'm going to see all these amazing things I'm going to want to do, and then see the price points and go, I'm not going to do it. Whereas I didn't have to worry about that on River, because particularly, and again, I know it varies by brand, but because there were so many included and there were multiple choices as well, I was like a child with a menu, like, oh my God, I want to do that, and I want to do that, and I want to do that. And then by the end of the week, I realized, I missed out. Didn't miss out. We still had a half-day scenic cruising day, but I was very envious as well when Sarah was telling us about the time when she sat in and with a glass of wine and tapping away on her laptop, and I was like, and I've been to a concentration camp. Like we've had very different days today.
I love it.
And then like literally we all came back. Me and Donna have been crying all day because we've just been in this really sad place and everything. But it's lovely, and it's great to have that choice though as well, and just to have that immersion. Like I would never have been to the concentration camp or the working camp in our case if I hadn't been on board a river ship, because there's no way I would have gone to that part of the world and had the opportunity to do that. And I am so glad I did it, because it framed the war in a way I've never had the war framed in my schoolhood and my lifehood type of thing. So it was really great to have that opportunity. And again, it's something I wouldn't have done if I wouldn't have experienced a river cruise, because like I say, I would never have gone to that part of the world beforehand.
Yeah, absolutely. And Kieran, that's another point, actually, really good point. You know, you're going to see things that you didn't even know that you wanted to see when you're river cruising. You know, you're going to think, okay, so we're going to Würzburg, Nuremberg, Miltenberg, all the bergs, they're all on the list. Okay, well, you know, but actually when you get to all these different places, you're going to be wowed. You know, the history, the architecture, there's little hidden gems as well along the way. So there's a trip that we do, which is one of our insider experiences. It's one of our Enhance Your Journey experiences. So you do have to pay extra for it when you're on board, but it's so worth it. And it's a little town called Český Krumlov, which is absolutely fantastic. It's like Disney, you know, with the fairy tale castle. It's just, oh my God, it's amazing.
Now next week, right?
Yeah. If you can get an itinerary where you have the option to go to Český Krumlov, I wholeheartedly recommend it. You know, and that's the sort of thing that people say. They go, well, we thought we'd give it a go. It sounded like a great excursion. But, oh my God, it's one of my most favorite places I've ever been to. So, you know, that's the other thing. It's those hidden gems that you're not going to know that you needed to see. The photography, you know, the opportunities that you're going to have for these incredible pictures. It's very Instagrammable, you know, river cruising. You know, you're in these incredible locations and people are like, wow, where is that? You know, when you put it on your social media. So it's a great conversation piece as well, because you're going to see these incredible places that you've never heard of, but are so glad that you were able to get to on a river cruise.
It's like Salzburg. I mean, doing the Sound of Music tour, I was weeping the whole day. That's one of my favourite films. And to actually walk through those gates and see the house, which isn't a house really, is it? But oh my goodness, it was just, and again, that was on a river cruise.
Yeah, I know. And the other one is Vienna as well. A lot of people are absolutely, you know, awestruck by how beautiful Vienna is. And of course, it's the home of classical music. So you're going to be able to have that classical music concert to enjoy, you know, and it is just incredible. You're in this amazing location with this incredible music, you know, and even if you're not a classical music fan, you're going to love it because you're in the home of classical music, and it's the birthplace, and it's just immersing yourself in that culture and that historical side of things. And again, you're going to come away thinking, wow, you know, I never knew that I would love that so much. So it's, again, trying these new things. And a lot of them are included in the cost of the holiday. So you've already paid for them. But it's incredible what it gives you. And it really does make you feel so fulfilled. I have to say, when I've river cruised, obviously I've been working, you know.
Same.
But it does still feel like a holiday because I'm on board this beautiful ship, seeing these incredible locations. And yes, of course, I am still working. I'm escorting, I'm, hosting a fam trip or whatever, but I'm still enjoying these incredible places and I still feel like a passenger. I'm still enjoying the food. And I just think, oh my God, if you haven't discovered River Cruise yet, then you really do need to look at what it's all about. If you love city breaks, if you love multi-center holidays, if you like to do a little bit of touring holidays, things like that, have a look at river cruising, because when you weigh up the cost in terms of what you would pay maybe to go to, I don't know, Amsterdam for 4 nights, with your excursions, with your food, with your drinks, etc., I can guarantee that you would be shocked at how much more you're going to get included on a river cruise for almost the same money. But you're going to get so much more out of a river cruise because it's such amazing value for money.
Yeah, can't fault it. And we say this about ocean and river as well, isn't it? It's value for money as well. For the quality you're receiving, you cannot beat it at the moment, especially with the way the travel world is going and costs are going up and up. And I think 2024 customers are going to have a big shock as well when they come in to book their holidays next year, the prices then. I definitely think ocean and river offer the best value for money at the moment. And we've built our businesses around it, but I think we're very passionate about that. Of just, if you want value for money, definitely think, look at cruising, period, river or ocean for next year.
Also,
absolutely.
It's the, I'm going to say it again, it's the food. But you don't get food like that in a land-based hotel. I've been to one super ultra luxury resort that costs 3 times the price of a cruise. Other than that, I've never had food like I've had on a ship, ever.
I know it is an incredible. Like I said, it's such an important part of the experience. We do obviously. I know we've talked a lot about Europe, but we do have river cruising in Egypt. We do have river cruising in Asia as well, on the Mekong. And what we do there actually is, again, immersive experiences, the food, local delicacies, as well as those international favorites, etc. So again, wherever you go on a river cruise, you're getting that full experience of being immersed into the cuisine and the culture and the history of that destination. But what I love about our Asia product specifically is that we do have a mix between river cruise and escorted touring. So even though you're traveling to the Mekong, you're not just going to do the Mekong, which is spectacular. And if you are going to Vietnam and Cambodia and you're not going to travel along the Mekong, then you need to get that into your itinerary because it's the most incredible way to see the countries. But what we also do in Asia is we have got these additional extras either side of the Mekong River Cruise. So you can then experience the likes of Siem Reap and Ho Chi Minh and Halong Bay and Hanoi. And you can actually immerse yourself in the cities, do those excursions, go to Siem Reap, for example, the Angkor Archaeological Park, go and do the Angkor Wat sunrise experience, etc. All those bucket list things that you would think, oh, I'll never get to do. Well, that's included in an itinerary on a Mekong River Cruise. Again, there's so much out there for everybody. So, of course, Europe's very popular for the first time river cruiser and people that don't want to travel very far as well, because obviously you've got, the Rhine, the Main, the Danube, the Douro as well. And then, of course, we're bringing back actually some of our French waterways for 2025, which is, and again, very, very popular in terms of customer demand. But unfortunately, after the pandemic, we did have to strip it back a little bit. So they haven't been on sale, but they are coming back. So that's really good news. But then again, if you've done the Douro and you've done the Danube and you're thinking, okay, what's next? Then have a look at Asia, have a look at Egypt, Nile River Cruises. Wow, we've added more dates actually to our portfolio for Egypt river cruising because it has just been selling like hotcakes.
Demand's booming, isn't it? It's gone crazy.
It has, yeah, absolutely. And again, in Egypt, you've got the best of both worlds. So you've got the 4-night river cruise, but then you've also got the 3-night stay in Cairo. You can add on the 3-night stay in Alexandria. You can add on Jordan and Israel. We are going to fly people down to go and see certain, historical sites, etc., on the itinerary, all included. You're going to get a cruise director that's a qualified Egyptologist. Wow. They're going to know the best information. They're going to know everything about the any questions that you might have to ask. So again, river cruising is going to give you so much more than what you would get if you were to do it independently. Absolutely.
And I think it ties into the APT side of the business as well. I think if you can just briefly explain to people as well about, obviously, we're mainly talking about river cruising here, but APT is also a touring company as well. And I think that's the hallmark of the business as well, is the fact that you are also leaders as well in putting together touring groups as well.
Absolutely, yeah. So that's what we started doing many, many years ago. So we've just celebrated our 95th year in anniversary in business. So we started in 1927 in Melbourne, Australia. It started out because there was a tram strike in Melbourne, and Bill McGeary saw an opportunity. He was a bit of an entrepreneur, and he converted some vehicles into shuttle buses. And he started what is today Melbourne's busiest bus route. And they did that for many years and built the business up. And then in the 50s, unfortunately, Bill's health became poorly, so his son Jeff took over the business, and he then took it to what it is today. And he is such an inspirational man. He started touring in the outback, then introduced general touring in Australia, then introduced touring in New Zealand, then Canada, Alaska, Asia, China, Japan, etc., South America, you name it, they started touring. And that's what we did predominantly for the majority of those business years. But then about 30 years ago, introduced river cruise as well, because it goes hand in hand with escorted touring. So that's why you get those combinations in select destinations where you can enjoy a tour and a river cruise all in one, because we do both. We are experts in both. I don't like to blow our own trumpet, but we do get the most incredible feedback. We've got incredible relationships with our hoteliers and our third-party suppliers. So when you do a tour with APT or with Travelmarvel, you are going to see all the must-see sites. You're going to get the best porterage, so you're not having to lug your suitcase from here to there. It's all taken care of for you. And the fleet of coaches that we use are, luxury, best in class, etc. And again, our tour directors are very knowledgeable, using those local experts again in destination as well to get that immersive experience.
So could we talk a bit about the top deck? Because I think sometimes that's something that's very overlooked on river cruising, isn't it? Because it's all about the activity, about the getting out and seeing the ports, but you can chill out as well, can't you?
Absolutely, yeah. So obviously with river cruising, you've got the beautiful sun deck, which is a massive place for people to relax. They want to see the scenery, they want to be up on the sun deck. On our Travelmarvel ships, we do actually have a rooftop garden, which is where the barbecue area is. So you've obviously got that sort of nice comfy sofa area to relax in. You've also got a whirlpool on board as well, and then a walking track as well. So there's lots of things going on up there for people to enjoy. But most of all, people just want to relax and watch the scenery. And they want to, read a book or enjoy a G&T while they're traveling along, these incredible stretches of river, such as the Rhine Gorge. The cruise director will often come up as well and do a little bit of a chat about, the history side of things in terms of the Rhine Gorge. There's so many different fairy tale castles for you to see when you're up there. So it's a great place to hang out. But the great thing about our ships is that the front section of the ship is actually lower down, which means that you can stay up on the sun deck when you're navigating those locks. Most of the time, you can watch, but you have to watch from inside the ship because they close the sun deck at the top, and then the wheelhouse where the captain is lowers down. It's a bit like a shapeshifter, it goes up and down depending on what it needs to do. But because obviously you're on that lower section of the sun deck, you can stay up on the top and watch what goes on, watch how close you get to the walls on either side. You can literally touch the walls as you're going through the locks, and you can watch what happens in these giant mechanical structures and all the water levels going. And it is, I never thought I'd be geeky about that at all, but actually, I am. Every single time I'm up there with my camera taking pictures, it's just fascinating to watch. And when you see a lock coming, everyone gets really excited.
There's no experience like it. I can't even describe to anybody what going through a lock's like. It's just, you've got to experience it because it's amazing.
Yeah, and you get to see the crew doing their thing as well. When you're on an ocean cruise, they are hidden away. You don't see anything that goes on. You might occasionally see someone hanging over the side with a pair of binoculars, but that would be literally it. When you're on a river cruise ship, you can see everything. You can see the captain steering the ship, and all the nautical crew doing their thing. And it is just, you feel like you're a part of it, which is what river cruise is all about. So yeah, it is a fascinating part of river cruise, definitely.
One question I've got, and this is something that I struggled to answer last week. So Sarah asked me, what's the best place to start with river? And I was like, it's such a big topic that I always struggle to say to people, this is where you should begin. But I I won't answer it what I answer. I'll see what you say. But if somebody was to come to you, and this is what I do, and for people who listen home, this is our relationship with people like Becky, is if a customer comes to us and asks what do you suggest, we will always go to our sales manager, be like, I've got this customer, they're thinking this, can you suggest? So if somebody was to come to you for the first time ever and they're thinking of doing a river cruise, how would you help guide them into choosing kind of maybe which river's the best or which itinerary may be the best? How would you go about helping someone do that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think generally it's the Rhine as a first-time river cruise experience, or the Danube. The Rhine tends to be more popular because it's easier to get to from the UK in terms of flying into Amsterdam and then home from, Munich or, Nuremberg or wherever you're finishing your itinerary. And the Rhine is very, very popular in terms of the scenery that you're going to see, that Rhine Gorge experience. You're going to see, cities that Amsterdam, Cologne, you're comfortable. So most people tend to start off on the Rhine. The price point's often very, very competitive as well. So if you're thinking, okay, I want to try something with River Cruise, I'm not sure, I want to give it a go, you don't want to spend a fortune. So you're going to look at something that's maybe got, a really good value for money price point, and the Rhine often is the best priced in terms of the rivers. So yeah, absolutely, the Rhine tends to be the first one, but then some people try the Danube to start with first as well, because they want to see Budapest, they want to see the Danube, the Viennas, etc. Many people tend to do the Douro or the lower Danube after they've tried the Rhine or the main Danube first. And that's because they kind of want to know if they enjoy the concept of river cruising before they kind of then spend a little bit more money, because the Douro and the lower Danube do tend to be slightly higher in terms of price point. And then you'll often find people upgrade their cabins and things as well, so that they get the best views from their cabins when they're on board as well. I mean, the big news for us in terms of the Douro actually is that we've got a brand new ship launching in July next year. She's absolutely stunning, very similar to our contemporary ships that you guys have been on in Europe. So it is very exciting for us. So we're going to have a beautiful 7-night itinerary going from Porto return, with add-ons if you want them, such as Lisbon, etc. But the Douro doesn't tend to be a first-time river cruise destination. You do get some, absolutely. People want to see this incredible river. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The scenery is phenomenal. Capacity tends to be quite tricky on the Douro because it's very, very popular, and of course the ships are smaller as well, because it does need, the ships, as you said before, Sarah, they need to get through the locks, etc. So the Douro ships need to be smaller because the infrastructure is slightly smaller than compared to Europe, where you've got the big industrial ships also going up and down the rivers. So the ships generally take about 120 to 130 people. So in comparison, when you think Europe, 180, there's a big difference.
There's a big difference.
Not so many cabins, big difference, absolutely. So people tend to have to book well in advance to get the Douro, to get the cabin that they want and the itinerary that they want. So that tends to be your second or your third time river cruises, because they know that that's what they want, and they want to get that sort of booking secured in advance. But yeah, the Rhine to start, or the Danube, generally tends to be the first river cruise destination for most people.
So in terms of age demographic, what sort of age demographic tends to cruise with you?
On board, yeah. So it tends to be, we say 55 plus, and I go like that because when I was on board last year, there were people in their 40s on board. So it definitely is attracting a lower age range, as we go through. People are, like we said before, they're starting to discover river cruise. They're starting to think, well, why am I paying this amount of money for one destination when I can pay that amount of money and see 7, 8, 9, 10 different locations and enjoy, the most amazing food and hospitality on a beautiful, floating boutique hotel. So, it really is, it's just such a lovely way to travel. And I think that the younger generation are now starting to discover it. But we typically say 55 plus tends to be our average age of customers coming on board. And, in terms of, maximum age range, obviously, if you're fully mobile, you could be 105 and you're welcome on board. As long as you can navigate a flight of stairs, then you can river cruise. Now, the reason we say that is because the elevators don't go all the way up to the sun deck, because they have to get under bridges and under locks and things like that. So we can't have a lift shaft on the sun deck. So to be able to get up onto the sun deck, you do have to walk up a flight of stairs. So you do have to be able to navigate that independently. Of course, there's no chairlifts or anything like that to help you up those stairs. So when it comes to mobility, again, we are, it's not like we're trying to discriminate at all, but the nature of river cruising means that you're going to have to be able to navigate that flight of stairs. And also when the ship's double or triple docking in select locations, especially the busier ports such as Amsterdam and Vienna and Cologne and Amsterdam, sometimes your ship's going to be the third ship out, and you're going to have to walk up to the sun deck, across to the next ship, down that flight of stairs, through the other ship, to get onto the port side. So obviously it's really important that any customers are fully open and transparent with their travel agent, Kieran, obviously yourself, to make sure that they are able to enjoy the river cruising to the best of their ability.
So can you just touch on, actually, because if you've been on an ocean, and the first time I ever saw this, it blew my mind, how the ships stack, because it's incredible.
I know they are amazing. And what made me laugh, actually, recently I was out visiting the ship, and the ship was docked, and I was walking along the port side, and all of a sudden it started pulling away. And I was like, oh my God, where's it going? Literally, I'm here, I'm ready to get on, you're meant to be picking me up, and it was a little bit of an ad hoc experience because I was the only one getting on board, because I was joining the ship sort of 2 days after it left port. But all it was doing was basically reversing out to let another ship come in, because they needed to be closer to the port side, because they were staying longer than what our ship was. So, of course, when they got there, they could come straight up to the port side and dock. But then they had to move and then obviously bring the ship back in and then dock next to this other ship. So it happens all the time, and they're constantly moving the ships in and out. So if you get back to port and you can't see your ship, don't panic. It's still going to be there. It's probably just moved because it's stacking itself against another ship because it's leaving before that particular ship. Depends on the itinerary, really, but it is fascinating. And the great thing is, as well, is you get to have a look and you get to see inside other people's ships. I mean, I shouldn't really say that on a recording, but yeah, for me, it's fascinating. You always have a little quick look at the lounge as you walk through the reception or across the sun deck, and you can get to, river cruising is, at the end of the day, it's like that. There's no way around it. You have to double and triple dock sometimes in select locations, but it is a fascinating part of river cruising. And I think, again, if people know that before they go, they're not going to be shocked when they see it happening.
You have to be careful in the mornings, especially as well, when you open your bedroom windows. You definitely do. Not that I've learned from first-hand experience, but I've had a few close calls in the mornings when I open the windows. And there's a ship. Or equally like, we're actually closer to land than I thought. Because it's just so used to ocean. You're kind of like, there's going to be no one outside. It's fine. I'll have a quick little peek. Not always able to do that on river because you tend to dock quite close to everything.
Absolutely. And you go to bed and there's no ship there, and then you open your curtain in the morning and you've got another balcony opposite you, So that's the thing just to be aware of. Obviously, when you're in port, those things happen. So just be warned. I mean, with your experience, and I'm sure you'll never do that again without getting dressed.
Well, I don't know. A few late time drinks and strange things happen to me, to be honest. Question I had as well, and I know you've told me about this separately, but just what would you say then is your top 2 or 3 itineraries that you offer as well then? So your most popular, I guess, if people are looking for the cheat sheet of what to book. Yeah,
so we've got a number of itineraries that range from 7 nights up to 14 nights. And funnily enough, the 14 nights, they've become more popular with the UK market. Now, most of the time, people from the UK just want 7-night river cruise. But because the price points have been so good this year and people are really loving river cruise, they're thinking, well, I want to go for longer. And we're actually one of the only companies that does a 2-week river cruise in one direction. And again, the reason that we do that is because we've got those Australasian passengers that are coming all the way to Europe from Australia, New Zealand. They're not going to come and just do 1 week in one direction and then go back on themselves. So we do have the Amsterdam to Budapest or Budapest to Amsterdam itinerary. So we have the Magnificent Europe, which is our APT luxury 15 days. And that, of course, would be on a luxury ship, which is a different concept to the one that we've been talking about.
Yep.
And then European Gems is the Travelmarvel one. So you would be on one of those contemporary ships that we've been talking about. And it's a very similar itinerary, similar stops, etc. But you're not going to go back on yourself. You're going to go all the way down the Rhine, the Main, into the Danube. And then obviously you're going to disembark from that end point. So that's definitely becoming more popular. But in terms of 7 nights, we have got the Reflections of the Rhine and Main, which is very, very popular from a UK perspective. And that's where you fly into Amsterdam and out of Nuremberg or Munich or vice versa. And then we have the Delightful Danube, which goes from Nuremberg to Budapest, or Budapest to Nuremberg, or back from Munich. So, there's a number of itineraries there. But I think what's really important to note as well is when you are doing a 7 or and we have got an 8 night as well, you are actually going to be on that ship that is doing the Amsterdam to Budapest sector. So
right.
It's almost like if you're traveling from Amsterdam to Budapest, when you get to Nuremberg, you're going to see people come and go. And that's because that's almost like the halfway point between the two destinations. And people are going to leave and people are going to join. So if you make friends with people in the first week, make sure you say goodbye to them because they're going to be getting off if you're on for the full 2 weeks. I've actually had that. I've had somebody contact me saying, I made friends and we didn't realize that they were getting off. Can you get in touch with them? I want to say goodbye properly. And that, again, is a lovely thing about river cruising. People make friends and people get to know each other and they dine together in the evening and things. So, so it's a fantastic, way of catering for both the Australasian and the UK markets and giving those different options of what people want. 7, 8. We do have the 14 nights as well. And of course, you have got those little add-ons as well. Do you want to stay an extra few nights in Budapest? Add on a hotel for 2 nights, etc., extend your itineraries. So there's a bit of flexibility there, definitely.
So can I ask a question about cabins? Because the cabins on river cruise ships are very different to ocean cabins.
Yes, they are indeed. So, I mean, obviously with ocean, you have got the inside cabins, you've got the outside cabins, you've got the balcony cabins, the suites, etc. You've got all these different grades of cabins to choose from, midship, aft, forward, etc. With river cruising, you've got 3 decks of cabins. There's 4 decks in total, including the sun deck. Now, the lower deck cabins are going to be fixed window cabins. We don't have any that are inside. So you're always going to have natural light coming into your cabin. But on the lower deck, they are fixed window cabins. So that means that the cabins are lower down in the ship. So the water is going to be just under the lip of the window. So when you're stood in your cabin and you look out of the window, you'll see the water level just below the lip of the window. Call them a swan view if you like, because you can see the ducks and swans bobbing by as you're sailing along. And I think if you're the type of person that doesn't spend a lot of time in their cabin and they want to be in the True North Lounge enjoying afternoon tea and they want to be up on the sun deck chilling out, then they're absolutely fine for you. They are very, they're furnished exactly the same way as the rest of the cabins on board the ship. They are slightly smaller, 153 square feet, fully functional, very comfortable. But again, if you want to make the most of the view from your cabin, then you need to go up to the main or the upper decks. And this is where you'll find our French balcony cabins. They're all the same in size, 167 square feet. They've got a wide panoramic window that retracts in on the touch of a button. So you can lower that window down and it creates a bit of a French balcony-esque sort of feel. You can let the fresh air into your cabin. And of course, there is a little seating area just in front of the window as well, so you can watch the world go by. There is obviously full-on suite facilities in all our cabins, robes, slippers, toiletries, hairdryer, infotainment system with movies, TV channels, a bow cam so you can lie on your bed and watch the ship moving through the river. They're serviced twice a day. So you'll have a turn down service in the evening as well as obviously the normal service in the mornings once you've finished in your cabin. So they're very, very comfortable. And I can't tell you, the storage is phenomenal. They thought about this so well on these ships. So full-length hanging space, you wouldn't think it's that important, but actually hanging those suits or those dresses and things like that, that you might want to wear for the gala evening with the captain on board, it's really important to have that. The amount of deep drawers that we've got to put everything away, space under the beds to put your suitcases, you can literally put everything away so that you feel like you've really relaxed and you've really made it a home away from home. climate control, of course, as well. Can't forget that. So they're, absolutely spectacular. They're called the French balcony suite. However, saying that, we do have 4 cabins that are the top of the tree, and these are 4 owner suites that you'll find on board, and they're about 250 square feet, and they have a designated lounge area, an extra window, as well as the French balcony, and a larger ensuite as well. So there's a range of cabins to choose from. Depends on what the customer's looking for, really. But I would say when you're on the river, you're going to want to see the scenery. So go for one of the French balcony cabins, because it's going to give you the best of both worlds.
I just want to go on a cruise. We're mid-renovation and everything that could have gone wrong has gone wrong. So, you're just up to there with it. And I just need a holiday.
Oh,
then every week we just talk about going on a holiday, and Sarah's just like, yep, at some point soon.
Yeah, I know.
Next year, but it's a massive renovation, so it's just been really difficult.
Oh, bless you. Yeah, no, absolutely. And I have to say, the best one to go on is a river cruise, because you're going to really chill out. I went on a river cruise just after I'd had quite a big operation, and APT sent me on this trip, and it wasn't actually to host a trip or anything. It was literally just to go and experience the product with one of my colleagues. So it felt like a holiday. It was wonderful. We had 3 nights on board one of the new contemporary ships. It was the best rehabilitation I could have asked for. Getting on board, relaxing, no kids, no husband, just me on this beautiful river cruise ship, just chilling out, reading a book, watching the world, chatting to the passengers, enjoying a nice glass of wine. And I came back and felt like I'd really had time to kind of just relax and get my head straight, really, after this big operation that I had. Yeah, because when you're at home, like you say, things are going on. You've got renovation going on, you've got kids going on, busy life, everything that goes on.
To run.
So.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, Becky, for coming on. Honestly, we love having kind of our trade partners come on just to share their first-hand experience, because they can explain, obviously, more about the product and the destination better than I can, because my memory's like a sieve lately. All this amazing information that we get, is just really great to hear it firsthand. So thank you very much for coming on, Becky.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
And if you guys are interested in booking an APT or Travelmarvel river cruise, then definitely reach out to me. I can help you find the best river cruise available. So you can find me online under magical-traveler.com, or I'm on all my social medias under magical-TRVLR. Myself and Becky have done another video. If you've loved listening to this, there is another video on my YouTube channel, which you can find, that has a little bit more detail about the itineraries, and a few more pictures as well of some of the ships available as well. So definitely hunt that down if you want to learn a little bit more. I've also got 2 cabin tours as well of 2 of the cabins that Becky's talked about as well, just in short form as well on my YouTube and Instagram. So hunt them down. Sarah, I know you have a lot of content on your website about river cruising as well. Where's the best place the guys can find that?
So we do have quite a bit on, not so much APT and the cruise ships, but we do have itineraries. So if you want to look at the Danube and what the Danube's got to offer, and some of the cruise ports, we've got the itinerary guide so that you can see some of these amazing ports you can reach on these ships, and that's on cruisingforall.com.
Well, guys, we hope you've enjoyed this episode, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.
Bye.